Greetings, friends. We are again face to face with each other for a very purposeful discussion today. Today, I will be taking maybe a bit more time than usual, but the discussion will be purposeful, will be to the point, and will cover the topics that are burning issues for India today, or maybe for the entire world also. But the topic I am going to discuss, or the discussions that we are going to have, will center upon India and the kind of issues that India is facing. What does India need, or what does India tackle urgently? What kind of issues or problems that India is having against itself? List is endless, but we are going to face or focus on the top 5. What are they? COVID-19, coronavirus, economy, corruption, unemployment, law and order. I think, in my opinion, these 5 issues are the most burning ones for today. In last discussion, I had spoken about certain things. I had spoken about the current worrisome situation and the related aspects. Both Congress and BJP, they have ruled for 10 years each in 21st century, post 2000. And hence, both are equally responsible for the kind of situation that India is in today. Last one will always get more blame because whenever you are in a crisis situation, the person who is in the last will always be blamed maximum, because the kind of issues, it starts precipitating, but the precipitation is maximum when we are nearing the end, or when the intensity of the crisis is going up. And that way the blame will definitely go upon Mr. Narendra Modi, Prime Minister, and his BJP government. They have also taken certain decisions which have been negatively aspecting the Indian economy or the Indian society. Narendra Modi is perhaps trying to put lasting and final nails in India's coffin. I don't know, I'm not sure, but this I am thinking as a kind of, when I'm going through this sort of discussion, somehow this kind of feeling is also coming up. India is currently at a very critical junction situation. It is very seldom, very rare in history of anybody, particularly India also. India currently needs traction, survival, activity, growth, Brouhaha. Brouhaha means a kind of positive commotion. Plenty of problems have been building up during last couple of decades. And now it has taken the Indian economy or the Indian situation scenario to a kind of standstill where everybody or everything is felt like it has completely stopped. There is no movement at all. We must prioritize and number the problems, or number them, our problems, so that we are able to focus on their solutions also. Now let us discuss about them one by one. First, let us talk about coronavirus or COVID-19. In the history of the mankind, first time there is a pandemic of this nature, pandemic of this proportion, that is totally different from earlier ones. Whatever nature you see, whatever nature you try to focus on, infectious, contagious, otherwise, whatever. Flu, plague, SARS, MERS, AIDS, there are numerous pandemics or endemics. They have all tested us in the past, but no disease or pandemic caused or put a question mark on our existence itself. The kind of question mark that coronavirus or COVID-19 is putting. It is staring us in our face. It is telling us that you are incapable in handling me. No idea about its origin or symptoms. There is nothing known. And even after 6 months, no medicine or antidote is possible, is available, and it is not expected in near future also. Every country is groping in dark, crying in wilderness, in trying to tackle it, and that too without knowing ways and means. All our progress and advancements so far, scientific, spiritual, or otherwise, whatever nature, look dwarfed, minuscule, or insignificant Governments imposed lockdowns across the world, causing sufferings on social, financial, or political fronts, denting both lives and livelihoods beyond repair or return. We are seeing how the governments are trying to tackle it. They are, instead of trying to tackle it medically, emotionally, or through some other means, they are simply putting lockdowns, unplanned, lockdowns unthought of, thoughtlessly. How do we do now? What do we do now? How do we handle it now? What should we do so that we are coming on top of the coronavirus or COVID-19? One thing is sure, tackling it medically alone wouldn't help us anyway. We cannot tackle it by only one thing, that we should apply medicines, we should apply some sort of vaccine, and we will be successful. We will come out of it. It's not possible, because the kind of feedbacks or the kind of journey it has taken for the last 6 months, it is for sure that we cannot tackle it medically alone. Now let us evaluate and explore first of all its origin from China and reason of outbreak. Why did it originate from China? What are the reasons behind its outbreak? Why did Almighty or God or nature cause it from China? China, we all know, currently is number one in population. Today's manufacturing hub, possesses maximum foreign reserve in US dollars, has a Belt and Road Initiative across 70 countries, across continents, has investments in more than 100 countries, has opaque and fearful governance or systems, doesn't give much freedom to its population, has a hegemonic and expansionist government. These all qualities or virtues, we can call it virtues, we can call it qualities, or we can call it, a kind of necessary evils, whatever we call it. Because of these reasons, it originated in China. And how did these reasons help it to reach to the countries of the world? Now, earlier endemics or pandemics originated in isolated or not so well connected countries, and hence didn't create universal threats across the world. Almighty or nature, perhaps God, wanted to send a message across that humans need to correct course to allow mankind to survive and grow for endless centuries. This is the second aspect that we need to focus on in our discussion today. The reason of outbreak. Perhaps God or the nature or the Almighty, they wanted the current generation to take a course correction so that the generations that are coming up, they feel more comfortable, they feel convenient, and they survive for endless centuries. Not to exaggerate, you remember I have written a book titled Divorce Negatives. Divorce Negatives talks about the kind of life that we humans must undertake, the kind of relationships we must have, so that we are not only progressing, we are not only happy, we are not only successful in survival, but we progress, we grow, and we continue for endless centuries in the future successfully, purposefully, and in a manner that deserves, that befits the mankind also. Now, easier spread of coronavirus across 200 countries was possible only if it originated in a country like China that has wide reach and connections. Before multiplying and compounding existential problems for everyone, humans, animals, birds, plants, trees, whatever, nature, etc., whatever you call, and before it spoils the environment beyond repair, elation was perhaps very much required to the current generation for a course correction. To tackle it, we need universal approach, emotional, fraternal, financial, medical, physical, social, spiritual, everything, to come out winner against coronavirus. All these should be combined into one when we are trying to tackle coronavirus or COVID-19. All these aspects must be taken care of. The entire world needs to stand as one. All the countries in the world, they employed lockdown. Lockdown without any proper thought, without any proper consideration, and with almost no planning at all, particularly in India. It was imposed when the number of cases were very low, very low in hundreds. Now it has reached 250,000, 2.5 lakhs. Now when the number is 250,000, we are on unlock 1. When it was into hundreds, we were on lockdown 1. Just you can imagine the comparison. You can do the comparison and imagine what kind of decision the government took here. It was a totally wrong decision on the part of the government to have imposed lockdown when it was not required at all. Lockdown is never the answer, as every country has different governance structures, social and cultural setups, economic backgrounds, climate and racial mix. The lockdown can never be a solution. Even if you are trying to impose a lockdown, it must be seconded or supported with some other measures also to make it successful. Life is always in bondage of death. We know that. We are alive till death strikes us. Death laps up a life at the desired level, at the desired time. But life enjoys being active, running, always up to doing something, as this is its tradition for centuries and centuries. Now, can we run away from death? Is it possible for us? If coronavirus is causing deaths only, then even if suppose we all are running from it, can we escape from its death or from its jaws? It is simply not possible. Not possible. Then we must face it squarely and be in courtship to be purposefully engaged to achieve goals of life. We must stand face to face with coronavirus, and whatever ways and means are applicable or possible to apply for us, we should do. We should employ them, and we should try to defeat coronavirus or COVID-19 so that we are again back to normal days. Now friends, let us come to the second topic, which is economy. Post demonetization and GST, the Indian economy is in tatters. It's almost standstill. It's almost, you can say, at the dead end, in a blind alley. I don't know whether I should call it, but I think the kind of decisions PM Narendra Modi has taken during last 3-4 years, he appears to be a messenger of doomsday. Most of the negative decisions he has taken, demonetization, in Hindi we call it Notbandi, lockdown, in Hindi Deshbandi, and all these decisions are taking us to nowhere. Rather, it is taking oxygen out of our life, daily life, from everybody's life. He imposed thoughtless, unplanned, needless lockdown, bringing a staggering economy to a standstill, putting at risk everybody and everything. Indian economy was already in tatters for the last 3 years. It was on hot plate for the last couple of decades. Senseless demonetization made its weakness more glaring, and unplanned, unprepared GST most glaring. Dead end is near, that we are experiencing for last 3-4 months. There is no activity at all. Economic activity has reached to almost nil, and everybody is expressing fears of a situation where the Indian economy is perhaps dead. Traction is out of reach. There is no traction visible. There is no survival visible. Nobody is talking about survival. Nobody is talking about growth. Nobody is talking about positivity. GST needs a serious reconsideration. We cannot do anything about demonetization, but GST, at least something is possible to be done, and it needs a serious reconsideration, a new avatar, and a fresh application. Until and unless GST is again applied and implemented in a new avatar, we should not expect Indian economy to be back on track or to gain traction. Corona further deprived it of any oxygen that is left in the environment or in the economic climate. Corona took that away also. Now, in a market economy, we all know debit, credit, buyer, seller, giver, taker are there. Until and unless a market takes care of both, it will not survive. And it must be taken care of with a proper balance. If there is no balancing, no market economy will survive, will thrive. Market will not survive. This balance is absent perhaps in Indian economy for last couple of years or maybe couple of decades. Commercial activities are at the expense of buyer or taker, and hence economy is in turmoil with no demand left. He is being exploited and squeezed by everyone, including the government. In the decade 2000, he has spent from his income, out of his income. In decade 2010, he has spent from his savings or out of his savings. In decade 2020, now he has nothing left to spend, and that is why there is no demand left in the Indian economy. Government is trying to instill or put money through this way or that way, relief package, a stimulus package, and all sorts of economic package. Although these economic packages also are of no positive implications, they are not having any content or substance, but still whatever, even for the namesake, government is trying to do something. But none of the measures has brought or generated any demand in the Indian economy, and this is because of this point, this fact, what we are discussing now. Wheels of Indian economy has completely stopped, and in order to make it running, in order to make it functional, in order to make it moving, rural and urban, both rural and urban economy needs to be handled separately and pointedly, so that the Indian economy is again back on track. The third point that we should discuss, or we must discuss, is corruption. Congress, mostly since 1947 or 1950 and today, two parties have ruled the country maximum. Congress says, you are corrupt, we are also corrupt. BJP says, you are corrupt, we are not corrupt, so allow us to be corrupt like you. And both are ruling India with this philosophy. Now, when they are ruling India with this philosophy, can you expect corruption to be tackled or corruption to be non-existent? Is it possible? Not at all. How can we expect an India without corruption with this kind of approach? Then what do we do? What kind of solutions are applicable or possible to apply? We will discuss here the very basic ones, not very long ones, very basic ones. Normal retirement age for employees is 60 years, public or private, whatever sectors. Likewise, normal retirement age for politicians must be 70 years. No politician should be allowed to continue in the public life, in the active political life beyond the 70 years. They must resign or made to retire or be removed from active politics. After 70 years, there is nothing left also to contribute. Government of India has many schemes for the welfare of the poorer sections of the society or the needy sections of the society. Prime Minister Garib Kalyan Yojana, Prime Minister Kisan Samman Nidhi Yojana, Prime Minister Ujjwala Yojana, Prime Minister Mudra Yojana, Narega, Manrega, like that. There are many schemes applicable, running concurrently. There are some schemes from the state governments also. And in all these schemes, governments are claiming that they are doing DBT. DBT is direct benefit transfers. Now, do we know whether direct benefit transfers are reaching the hands they are desired to reach? Is there no double payments? Is there no fake payments? Is there no wrong payments? Is there no multiple payments within the same family? How do we know, or how do we know about that the payments being made are correct ones? Not like this. My opinion is, panchayat wise, block wise, village wise, whatever government decides, but it must be made public. The list must be made public. List of beneficiaries with the kind of payments, frequency of payments, it must be made public for the consumption of the public, so that everybody comes to know, including the government also comes to know, that there is no wrong payment, fake payment, multiple payments within the same family, or double payments. India is full of VIPs or VVIPs. Every locality, everywhere you go, wherever you go, you will find some or the other VIP, VVIP. They very arrogantly or proudly call themselves VIP or VVIP. So we must do something about this also. VIPs or VVIPs, security listings should be completely done away with. These VIPs, they have potential to arrange or amass hundreds of people to create ruckus or commotion at any point of time, whenever they desire or whenever they like to. When they have so much potential, do they need any security listing, or do they need any VIP security or VVIP security? This also must be completely done away with. Many other solutions can be discussed and applied to tackle corruption. Corruption is nothing that cannot be tackled. This is my firm and strict and straight opinion. Now let us come to the unemployment issue of unemployment. Unemployment for the last 3-4 years has been becoming a very major issue, serious issue. Few months back, we were informed that unemployment is highest in last 45 or 50 years. Now during the period of lockdown, that is last 2 months, it has reached dangerous proportions. In April, May, June has not been published figures by CMI, Center for Monitoring Indian Economy. They publish regular reports. In April, in May, they have reported that around 25 to 27% unemployment is there in India. 10 to 12 crore people have lost their jobs, employment. If we take 4 people per family or per individual, then multiply 12 by 4, 48 to 50 crore people. They have no employment, no income of their own. And in their reports, survey reports, they had also published that most of these or 100% of these households, they don't have even a week's provisions left to survive. What they are going to do, how they are going to survive. Lockdown is not going to end soon. The kind of situation it has already created in last 2 months, 3 months, last 3 months of lockdown, the kind of problems it has created, the kind of stumbling blocks it has created, it is going to be a very difficult proposition for anyone to handle them. And this kind of unemployment statistics further compounds the problem for the Indian society or Indian economy. 5,500 MPs, MLAs are there across India. Let them engage 8 people, 10 people, 6 people, whatever, for their daily jobs or security purposes. They will send a message also and they should do it from their own incomes. And they will send a message also in the society that they are trying to reduce unemployment. Employment should be granted, should be tackled or should be generated on local basis, whether it is rural or urban. And for that, rural economy, urban economy must be developed separately, respectively. Proper use of human capital along with IT initiatives like artificial intelligence, automation and algorithm can do wonders for the country. Unemployment allowance should not be paid without linking it with the productivity. Unemployment allowance must be always linked with some sort of productivity or some job performance, even if it is part-time, not full-time. Democratic nature of engagement will improve employment opportunities. Democracy means share and care. Share and care means when you have this mindset or this approach, definitely it will do some positive for the Indian society insofar as tackling unemployment. Servicing a population of 137 crores can definitely increase or augment the chances of employment for the common masses. Life is becoming more and more complex and need-based, and when this kind of population is there with the life complexities, with the needs of various nature, when you are trying to satisfy these kind of things, too many employment opportunities can automatically be generated. And I have firm opinion that, I always call it ATS, agriculture, tourism and services. These 3 sectors have enormous potential to generate employment provided we understand how we can use them. Then the next 3 sectors that can do wonders are construction, infrastructure and transportation. And until unless we are in a position to do something, it is very difficult to generate employment opportunities for our unemployed people so that they can handle their day-to-day needs, they can have incomes, and then they can satisfy their families, they can sustain their families also. Now, the last one we should discuss is law and order across India, particularly in respect of women, children, and poorer sections. Law and order has been deteriorating faster and faster, particularly during last couple of years, or maybe you can say last decade. But it has always been an issue. It has always been, law and order has always been an issue in India for last many years, maybe a couple of decades. Until and unless India has a largely fair and transparent system, it is impossible to have law and order ensuring safety and security of the common people, particularly women, children, and poorer sections of the society. Minimum requirement to flourish economically is a good and sound law and order prevalent across the country for the industries to grow, for the employment opportunities to grow, for the families to grow, for the education and healthcare sectors to grow, for our children to have good and quality and quantity of quantitative and qualitative education, so that they can build an India where we feel proud about, not only ours but our country also. Zero tolerance for crimes against women and children must be there at any point of time. There should not be a tolerance of any percentage. It should be zero tolerance. Separate jails, again, it is my opinion that it will have some sort of, a kind of positive effect on the Indian society so far as law and order maintenance is concerned. Separate jails at isolated locations for influential people committing crimes should be there. Redrafting of old criminal and crime acts must take place. Reform system also must be in place for overall behavioral improvements. Until and unless we have a reform system in place, we cannot arrest crimes, or we cannot develop a society or develop a system where less and less crimes take place. For that to happen, a reform system also must be in place, where we are trying to correct our people, build them up for a positive contribution to the society. Education curriculum or educational curriculum to reflect public behavior of public personalities must also be there. Nowadays, it is just for the namesake. Whatever we are discussing, or even if it is there, it is for the namesake. The kind of behavior we are displaying or depicting in society, or the kind of behavior is being displayed and depicted by the public personalities, it is sending more of a negative message across to the society, and this is what is picking up, and this is what is perhaps causing more law and order problems in the society, in respect of women, in respect of children, in respect of poorer sections of society. Friends, our discussion today comes to an end. This is what I wanted to discuss with you all, and with this hope in mind, with this hope in my heart, that we will have a great future ahead. We will have a very positive future ahead. We must do whatever is possible for the good of our country, for the good of our society. Let India prevail. Let India be a victor. Thank you, friends. And last but not the least, be natural, buy natural. Thank you, friends. All the best. Have a great future ahead.